Are we live? We are live. Hey, most shows want to start with one of those silly questions like, what's that thing we can do today to get our products and services and the things we believe out in the world and still be sustainable? Oh my, how can we do it? We don't believe that's the question. No. As renegades, that guy there, renegade, me, renegade, that's just not the right question. We want to provoke your thoughts. We want to engage your mind so that you can develop the solutions to your challenge of today and take action. So this is one of those situations where we want you to really pay attention. This is not check the email time. This is not scan your Facebook from the weekend. This is get ready for some serious discussion here. This show is where we're going to help you figure out exactly what you need to do to make progress in these complicated times. I'm Bob Graham, that's Tom Brush, and this is today's Antidote. Whew.
Wow, good job, Bob. That's a lot.
It is.
Might have to work on some editing.
We keep saying that, but we don't do it.
Sometimes it works.
I keep waiting for someone to like edit it for us and be like, guys, I listened to it really closely. Here's the thing. So Tom, our topic today is one that we have spent a lot of time with individually, together a lot, and then also with other people. I know it's one of the things I coach a lot about, and really that's a big part of the coaching practice for both of us, but it's accountability. And today, our goal, simple goal, I like simple on a Monday, we want to define accountability. So do you want to start that ball rolling, or do you want me to take a stab at it?
No, I'll take a stab at it. Thanks. You had to read
Tom.
that whole long thing, so I'll take a shot.
Thank you.
It's funny. I think accountability is just about holding yourself to what you say you want to do. And I think sometimes that's a lot harder than people think it is. Mostly because they usually want to do something that makes a difference or that is a big step moving forward. And getting through that step sometimes is scary or hard, or they're worried about, is it the right step? It's like you blindfold the step forward and hope you don't step in a manhole. So I think it's you, once you made a decision that this is something you want to do, it's ensuring that you follow through with it.
Makes perfect sense. I think a couple of things that I want to just highlight in that great summary of what it is. One, you have to know what you want to do. And I think one of the areas where people struggle with accountability is when they don't know what they want to do. So it's having a specific objective. So for instance, for you and me, the objective of this broadcast each morning is we wanted to start the day running. We wanted to have something that we could commit to that got us up and ready to go. And we wanted to lead people forward. And so we have built this system that we do this every weekday morning, and it holds us accountable to each other. It holds us accountable to ourselves. And I think a lot of people would say, I'm going to start a podcast. And then they skip a day and the accountability goes out the window. The minute you don't do it, you lose that accountability, and people often blame the accountability for the inability to do something when they weren't committed to doing something in the first place. So to me, accountability is step two. Step one is, I believe in this thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. End of story.
Correct. And that's always easy though, but it's and I think sometimes obstacles get in the way. We have this grand idea of what we want to do, or even a little idea. And maybe before we've thought it all out, we say, yep, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to hold myself accountable to it. But to get there, I might have to take more steps than I think.
Yeah. The other part of it is a lot of people think of accountability as losing control. It's mommy and daddy making you clean your room. It's your big brother telling you go paint the fence. It's your boss telling you to do this thing you don't want to do. I think a lot of people assign accountability a really negative interpretation. Whereas with you and me, accountability is simply, hey, you said you were going to do this thing. Did you do it? Or remember, like 2 weeks ago, you brought up this thing you were working on. How's that going for you? And it doesn't have to be, Tom, do it, or I'm coming over to your house. Forget the quarantine. I'm coming after you if you don't do this thing. Now, there are times when that is necessary.
Absolutely.
But you and I do not operate by that. And I would say you and I are very accountable to each other, like incredibly so.
Yeah, because I think we both value it. I think we understand that doing something important can be hard. And so sometimes you need that person. You need that person to make sure that you're able to complete it, or at least to just check on you to see how's it going. Because sometimes that's more important. I think sometimes as we're trying to achieve those things, we get stuck and don't really know which way to go. So if nobody checks on us, it's easy to just bail on it and say, yeah, I guess that's not going to work. And there's also something about accountability that you feel responsible. You feel like, okay, I've told you I'm going to do this. All right, now am I just not going to do it? Because I would be letting you down in some ways if I didn't do it, and letting myself down.
Right. I'm going to throw in some comments. Neil, as always, up early. He told me he's making this a habit. So he's being accountable to being part of this most mornings. Good book on accountability. And I got to tell you, Tom, Neil has a million books in his mind. It's amazing. The book he suggests is Winning with Accountability by Henry Evans. He says it's a very good short read. I've got to get that book and take a look. Ed Levy says, end of story. So the antidote is ending the anecdote.
I read that and my mind got spinning. Monday morning was too early for that quote.
Well, I think what he's saying is we have the anecdote leads to the antidote. I think he's onto something, but I would love to get clarity. Because I never thought about it this way. If you think about it, we tell a story or we talk about something, and then at the end, we do the antidote. So it's anecdote leads to antidote. That's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not going there because I had enough time at the beginning, saying antidote. So I will get it all wrapped up.
I love it. Ed's great. I love to see his post because he's got the Natty Bow guy as his profile picture, which I think is just so Baltimore. It's so perfect.
Ed is a Baltimore guy.
So, Tom, one of the things I find when I'm working with people on accountability is they struggle with the fact that if they don't succeed at it, they feel like it's a bigger deal when there's an accountability partner than just dropping it, on their own. So for instance, if I say to you, I'm going to row every day, and you go, okay, great, Bob, and you ask me about it at least once a week, and I've told you repeatedly, no, I haven't rowed. Now I think I'm on my 4th straight day. And I will tell you, part of why I am rowing is because I don't want to let you down. I don't want you to ask me and me to go, yeah, I didn't get to it today, Tom. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that, and many people would say, oh, how can you do that? What does Tom know? Blah. No, that is a motivator for me. Now, that's not true of everyone. I know people where if you had the accountability, what's Tom got to do with this? It's me rowing. It's my life. Get out of here, Tom. But for a lot of people, right.
Yeah, I think it's the perception that you've put this out there, and yes, you think you maybe are letting me down because you told me this is what you're going to do, but in reality, the person you're letting down is yourself.
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part about it is we sort of pass off that responsibility to, I don't want to let my accountability partner down. Because for some reason, that's worse than letting myself down in our heads. And I think that's the biggest, part of the mind shift is, in reality, you're letting yourself down. Because that accountability partner is just trying to help you be the best you can be.
Right. And I'll give you a great example where accountability partner was really valuable to me, and I really miss it because it's gone. But when back in 2009, I guess it was, my wife and I decided to run a half marathon to raise money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And we built up our running from a couple miles a day up to, a half marathon distance, which is 13.1 miles. Don't I know it really well? And we got up 3-4 days a week and ran together. And it was marvelous because if I wanted to stay in bed, she'd drag me out. And when she wanted to stay in bed, I'd drag her out because we ran in the morning and we ran when it rained and we ran when it was cold and we ran when it was windy. And having that person that I did it with was so much easier because I knew that when I got weak, she could be strong. And when she got weak, I could be strong. And I think that's another big piece of accountability is it's not about do this, do this, do this. It's about, hey, I want to help you. You said this is important to you. You chose, I didn't choose. So if this is important to you, this is what you need to do. And let me remind you of the things you said were important to you. And I think that's ultimately when you and I play accountability with each other. That's what you do. You say, Bob, this was important to you. I told you I wanted to row. You didn't come to my house and go, I see you have a rowing machine sitting there. I told you what it did for me and you've asked me about it. And that's actually a mode of friendship, a way to show that you care about another person. And I think that's what's at the core of it is we take something that's an action and we actually turn it into something that's got an emotional component, which if it has an emotional component, it becomes more important to us and we're more apt to do it.
I agree. I mean, I think that's part of it is that, when it becomes emotional, that means it's important. Like we don't get emotional about things that really aren't that important. We get emotional about things that matter. And so if we get emotional about being either upset at ourselves or at, that we're letting somebody else down, we are going to carry through. And think about how happy it makes you feel when you achieve that. And you can tell your accountability partner because you don't feel like you're bragging about it. You feel like you're just sharing, here's my good news with my accountability partner. And really, it's not changing their world. Yes, they feel better. In reality, it's changing your world, but you get to feel good about what you have done and that you're able to share it with someone else. So it's not just you that knows it.
And I think let's cut to the chase, Tom. Let's get to the antidote. And I'm going to go first today, just for a change of pace.
Absolutely.
I think the antidote to me, the solution to the problem today is to figure out what's a small thing in your life that you could be accountable to someone else for. Start there. If you're not someone who has an accountability partner, figure out that one little thing and then figure out the person that can help you be accountable. Ideally, it would be a business thing, but it could be a personal thing because believe it or not, my rowing helps my business in infinite ways. It clears my head. It gets me charged. It does all kinds of stuff. So someone choosing to drink 2 fewer cups of caffeinated coffee, that might be the thing that would help them with their business. So it doesn't have to. So looking for that and really thinking about what one little thing and who you can go to and say, I'd really like you to check on me and make sure I do this. Because you want to actually achieve it. Because what I find is when I have accountability for one thing, it makes it easier to go to a bigger thing to be accountable for, and then even a bigger one. And I see it with my coaching clients a lot. You start with a little accountability step, and then the big ones start coming, and you see huge growth. It's one of the things that coaches do a really good job of is probably in the toolkit. That's one of the bigger things is making a person accountable because they feel like they need to do it because they're paying you money.
True.
Personal trainer too, probably.
Well, and the funny thing is that you're the one who's actually keeping the accountability. You're just sharing with them, or that they know that this is something you want to accomplish. And so I guess that would be my piece of it is that to understand the value of accountability. the value of what it will do to help you move it forward, help you move yourself forward. And that it's that, you set goals or something you wanted to achieve for a reason that was important. And now you need to figure out how to move forward. Give it. If this is something that's important to you, finding a way to be accountable to that or to someone else is critical.
Great. So, Tom, because I'm required by contract to say this, we have a group on Facebook called the Ring of Renegades, and we get together there, and that's a place where people share. We've had some people over the last 4 or 5 days start posting some really thoughtful video about their thoughts on the world, on how things can be better, how business should be run. It's really great stuff. It's the kind of stuff that you could pay a lot of money to find out. And I find every time someone posts something in that group, I get some insight into the world, and I'm much better for it. So if you want to join our Ring of Renegades, it's totally free. It's a Facebook group. You can track down Tom or me, or you can go to Facebook and type in Ring of Renegades, and you will find us. You can apply. Our application credential standards process is pretty lax at the moment.
High-level standards. You have to be a renegade.
That's right.
And not reckless.
There you go. And if you're wondering what a renegade is, that's a person who's looking forward and seeing the opportunities, not going, woe is me, when is this all going to fix itself? They are taking decisive and consistent action to make things the best they can be, to find the solutions that are missing in the marketplace right now. Tom and I are committed to that. We're committed to building a group of people who share that vision, that view. If you think that's you, please join us. The other thing you can do is tell other people, whether it's you or not you, tell other people about this Ring of Renegades. And let's really create a movement here, a movement that's going to be a leader going forward. So with that, Tom, see, I row and I'm much more forceful, right?
You are very much in control there.
I'm gonna test you over the next week. You tell me after we've done this whether I've been rowing or not, because I think you're going to be able to tell, because I can see a difference.
Yeah, you definitely have a little more giddy up in your step.
Yeah, that's it. So the marvelous technology, the board operation today that's given us all these great quotes and all this great stuff is Tom Brush. I haven't given him enough credit. So Tom, great job on the technology as always. And we will see you all tomorrow morning, 8:30 Eastern. Until then, have a great day.